Shalom again, since we are now officially being live streamed. Um, and as this is my first time teaching with Wilshire Boulevard Temple Torah Study, I thought it would be nice if we all began with the blessing of studying Torah together. I'm going to put it on the screen so that we can say it together. You can feel free to read the Hebrew, the transliteration, and then we'll also read the translation. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Beautiful. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So, again, I don't quite know how these study sessions work, but I'm assuming that everyone has come in reading the chapter or is familiar with the chapter. If not, I can give a brief summary. Summary, yes? Summary. Okay, great. So essentially, we're in the last book of the Torah, right? Deuteronomy. And as who was it? Rebecca was saying, we know what's coming, right? We get a little emotional because we know that this is the end. This is the end for the fearless leader Moses. This is the end of the journey for the Jewish people. I'm about to embark on an even greater journey. And a lot of the chapter of Eikev is sort of a recap. It's a retelling of all of the events that have come before them, like many other of the chapters of Deuteronomy. Moses is sort of reframing the events, really hitting on some of the things that they did not do so well, aka the golden calf incident. And a lot of the chapter feels like, okay, we know, we got it, we've read, we understand. Um, what is interesting is that in the middle of the chapter, we get a one sentence, description that Aaron has died. One sentence. That's it. Aaron has died. His son takes over as the high priest. And I think that is an interesting part of this chapter because they do beforehand mention the incident with the golden calf. So it's sort of like a reminder of like, oh, Aaron really messed up letting that golden calf situation happen. And so we're only giving him this one sentence of his death now. It feels a little unfair, as he is, Moses's brother, the high priest. But it does sort of mirror the description of the death of Miriam as well, which came beforehand. And it was just like a very almost nonchalant thing. Like they died, we move on. Um, Anyone have any thoughts of why this would be such a brief utterance, just such a brief thing? I mean, in comparison to Moses's death that is coming, it feels very, very um, just, I don't know, brief, tossed aside.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think maybe till now, they are the one who were in a part of the Moses character. Now that Moses is died, is before they go in, I think that their importance kind of like gets minimized because he's not around anymore. They were affiliated with him. So he's dead, and then everything else that he was trying to teach them eventually is in jeopardy. Let's put it this way. And we know till today that people, like I said it before, nations fight over religions. And Moses is the one who really tried to put some kind of order in their thoughts with the Ten Commandments, and now he's dead. So we don't know how they're going to handle this without Aaron and Miriam, which kind of like gave him more strength because they supported him, that they were with him. So I think if he's dead, he's going to die. Their importance is dying with them.
It's a
That's
good
how I
point.
see it.
My son really desperately wants to say hello to everybody. So say hello really quick and then you're going for a nap. Can you say hello? Hello. Can you say Shabbat Shalom? Can you say Shabbat Shalom?
Shabbat shalom.
Oh,
Shabbat shalom
very
to you.
nice.
Shabbat shalom to you too.
Okay, now you go for a nap. Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty. So
Anyone have any other thoughts? Yeah. Anyone have any other thoughts on this brief description of Aaron's death?
I think that Panina made a very, I'm sorry, Rebecca, did I interrupt you?
Go ahead.
Panina makes a very interesting point. The way I kind of heard it was, I don't want to oversimplify, but out with the old, in with the new, that, okay, Moses is dying, Aaron has died, but the Jews or these people have rules to live by, and now they have the future, and they have to kind of do it on their own. I mean, not on their own, they have God, I guess, but they got the foundation, now go build this future.
Right. And honestly, that's sort of the theme of the entire chapter we'll get into in a second. That, we can't necessarily be dwelling on the past. Yes, we can remember it, we can look back, we can acknowledge it, but we always have to be looking forward a little bit. So I think that's really, yeah, an acute observation. Hi, Cindy. Rebecca, did you want to add anything?
Probably similar to what Benjamin said, in that I was having a conversation with my cousin recently about why are we always trying to remember the people that have died? We're supposed to remember how they lived. And so perhaps that's why it's so short. And so my response to him is, well, that's why the Jews have yahrzeit, because we, at least at one point in the year, we can remember that person.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, of course, we have Yisker services throughout the year for certain holidays as well, but we dedicate certain times to remember. But if we spend the majority of our time or our energy looking back or holding on to trauma, sadness, anything in our hearts, it's going to prohibit us from moving forward and living our lives. Yeah. Any other? Oh, Susan, yes, please.
Yes, I think it's a very interesting question you pose, and I haven't thought about that, but I agree with Benjamin and Rebecca about what they're saying about, and you, about moving forward. This wasn't a big funeral like Queen Elizabeth, that we're, that it's a major event, but it's like the old have passed, and it's also, this is what happens to mortals, you guys. We
Right.
all die. That's it. As Panina would say, end of story. That's it.
Not really. There is an opportunity to learn from them and continue. It depends how. What is it that you save? What is it that you remember? What is it that you choose
Yes, I
to
agree.
follow by?
I was just saying, you often say that's it. So that we die. But I agree with Rebecca too, that it's how they lived and the lessons they teach, which is what all Deuteronomy is about.
Hmm.
Besides looking at history, what is expected of you in this new land. So
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think these are all great points. So as I was rereading this chapter, like I said, this brief description of Aaron's death really stood out, but then two other things really struck me. Throughout the chapter, there's two phrases that are repeated almost at least 5, 10 times. Something about, and you shall remember, or remember, do not forget, remember your this, remember that. And you shall love.
Yeah.
So this chapter is infamous for two things. Like I already mentioned, the circumcise your heart line, which we'll get into. And then also, this chapter includes the second paragraph of the Shema, which we know as the Ve'ahavta, right? And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, right? Um, so in a chapter that has this short mention of Aaron's death, in a chapter that is so focused on remembering and love, I really feel like this is about a mind, heart, or a body soul connection, right? That we cannot not remember, but we cannot let that trauma of the past inhibit us from moving forward. And we have to move forward with a pure heart. And this is where we get into the circumcise your heart line. So if you don't know what this with this verse is, I'm just going to read it for you quickly because it is, like I said, and the infamous line of this chapter, probably of this book, I would say. So Moses has gone through the, retelling of various events of the 40-year journey. And now Moses is giving instructions to the Israelites as they are about to go forward into the land of Israel. So Moses says, "Only your fathers did the Lord desire to love them, and he chose their seed after them, chose you from all the peoples as on this day. And you shall circumcise the foreskin of your heart, nor shall you show a stiff neck any more. For the Lord your God, he is the God of gods and the master of masters, the great and the mighty and fearsome God, who shows no favor and takes no bride, doing justice for orphan and widow, and loving the sojourner to give him bread and cloak." So this circumcise your heart is very polarizing to a lot of people because a lot of people read this as, well, why would God be telling us to cut, to, you know, to, in a way, damage our vital organ that is connected to love, to care, to devotion? Um, Anyone have any initial thoughts on what this verse is doing here? Why would they choose such a metaphor? It seems like they could have chosen something else, a little bit less graphic, perhaps.
I have a question. I get it for circumcising men, with the covering, but where's the covering of the heart? And is it, in the first place? And is it, when you also open up a seal on it, you can also enable that organ to, function, more positively in a way, or function,
Right.
if it's, sealed up. So I would think it certainly is metaphorical, not literal.
Yes.
There is no foreskin of the heart.
Right. I think, yes, we can definitely all agree that it is metaphorical. Uh, and and yes, I think your latter point is getting to the heart of it,
Yeah.
intended. But why not use a different metaphor? Why not just say, you know,
Does it relate to the Pharaoh business at all? Because that's when we first encounter, I mean,
No.
I don't know about that.
okay.
But Panina, what are your thoughts?
My thought are that they were foreseeing division because they have how would I say, disagreements along the way here and there, and they were very realistic about what could happen without a leader. The three died. So we know by the destruction of the first temple that they weren't. There was the upper royalty, the southern royalty. They were already divided. So that already shows you the sign that there was a division. So with division, there is no love because otherwise they wouldn't be divided. And then when we have they come back, when they were allowed to come back, I did a paper about Ezra and Nehemiah, and my teacher didn't like it. I didn't get a good grade on it because I read that they had list of who is worthy and who is allowed to come to the temple. They had list, and if you read the books, you see it. And I'm thought to myself, how could you? I mean, whoever wants to come in can come in. So is that how many cows you can contribute to the, to the apportioned to the priest, to the Kohanim? What is it? Why list of people who are allowed to come in? No, what that was after they were allowed to come back, I'm talking about. And I really looked at it as snobism for one reason or another. There was a lot of it wasn't very nice situation. And I wasn't surprised that the second one went also because he didn't like it and he didn't even speak Hebrew. He was, he was a teacher that had somebody help him translate from an English Bible to the Hebrew words. And I just read it and I thought to myself, you build a temp, I mean, you're allowed to come back. So you make list, you yourself, of who is allowed in there and who is not, and who is going to come in first, and what position they're going to hold. Okay, maybe I'm very judgmental, but I did not like it, and he didn't give me a good grade. And then when I said to him, well, did you read anything else? He said, well, come into my office and we'll discuss it. I thought to myself, oh, come on. This is not how it's supposed to be. And then the rest of the class is not going to hear it. So it's kind of like I have to kind of give him a guideline that will be accepted by everybody. I didn't like it. I thought it was terrible of what was going on there. So that's my opinion, and that's all.
Okay.
Cantor, I have a question if I could.
Yes.
I'm having trouble kind of guessing or imagining cutting the heart. I know it's metaphoric, not literal, but I'm just trying
Yeah.
to think, what could that mean? What is,
Right.
I know this is the
So
question, but I can't even come up with an idea or a
so let
clue.
me let me phrase this in a different way. And this is my interpretation of it. Why do we circumcise, or when do we circumcise our
The when is very
sons?
important because you're allowed to do it even when
Eight,
you're an adult.
right. So we do it 8 days after a male is born. And what is the purpose of circumcision other than health and, reasons? But what is the Jewish custom behind it? Why are we doing it?
To read a covenant with God, isn't it?
Right. So originally, God tells Abraham to circumcise himself and his son Isaac as a way of making a covenant with the people moving forward, and and as a way of a physical sign that they are joining a new people, right? Um, sometimes I guess our tradition is very metaphorical, and sometimes we want something that's a little bit more literal. And so, for whatever reason, God chose the literal with this tradition of circumcision and said, we need a custom to show that we are part of the Jewish people. Cindy?
I have a question. Do you know if Muslims circumcise to make a covenant with Allah?
They do.
Great question. Let's ask.
In a later year, though.
Later.
Yeah, but does it still make, is it,
I don't know if it's been done, but it was part of the whole thing.
they do it at 12 usually.
Yes.
Yes, I'm seeing on the
Or
internet,
13.
which is always correct, that they're varying ages, but yes, they do.
But is it
And
for the same
they do
reason, to make a
women too.
covenant?
But you should know that.
It says for religious reasons, yes. Yes. So that is interesting. And they cite Genesis 17 as well. So yeah, so interesting. So if we look at circumcision in this light, right, which is what it was intended, that we circumcise our male sons to bring them into the Jewish people, to welcome them into the covenant. Why would this metaphor be used here? That God is telling, or Moses is relaying to the Jewish people, circumcise your heart. Remember where we are. We're in Deuteronomy. We have how many more chapters? We have about 20 more chapters until they reach the promised land. What are they getting ready to do?
To enter and conquer. Where are we? What is the
We're currently at Deuteronomy 10.
Deuteronomy 10?
The verse is 16.
10, 16, okay.
So I think
They're about to commit what Abraham was promised.
Yes.
I'm going to give you this land.
And they are literally about to embark on a new journey as a new people, new leader, new land, right? They are taking a giant step into becoming their own nation, their own true independent people, right? So, yes, they have already committed themselves to their Jewish faith, but perhaps this metaphor is being used here because they need to recommit, reframe their mind, restructure their heart in order to move forward as this new people. Just like a physical circumcision affirms, the Jewish faith. Rebecca, did you have a
yeah, because the sentence "circumcise your heart" is immediately followed by "so that you don't be stubborn." So,
right.
so I think
Yeah.
that's the metaphor, is that you want to open up your heart, not be stubborn, not be tied down to whatever's keeping you from moving forward.
Exactly. Yes. So yes,
I
it is.
apologize for cutting in before, Rebecca. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. So yes, a sort of like I said, a little bit graphic of a metaphor, but one that actually makes so much sense and is so poignant for this part of where the Israelites are in their journey, right? Not only are they about to really enter their era of peoplehood, of nationhood as Israelites, but they need to do so with, like Rebecca said, a pure, unfiltered heart. So cut away the things that make you stubborn. Cut away the things that you've been holding on to in your past. Cut away the trauma, the loss, the guilt, all the things that have happened from the golden calf, from all of the events that Moses has just reminded them of. It's important to remember them, but now let's move forward with a clean slate, right? So that's what yes, please. I think Susan, go ahead.
So this accords with the emphasis in Ahava on loving. tear away the blockage, again, the surrounding, what obstructs you from
Mhm.
loving, the encasement of your heart. So I see that as, and as Rebecca pointed out, what follows, is that you won't be stubborn and stuck to your old ways.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Rebecca.
Well, I think that's why there's just one sentence about Aaron, because it's all in the same chapter. And so we know
Exactly.
what happened with Aaron and the golden calf and the stubbornness of the individuals during that time frame. So it kind of all ties together.
All ties together. Isn't that funny how the tour does that? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any thoughts on Cindy? Yes, please.
Just looking at the women's commentary, it says,
Mhm.
cut away, therefore, the thickening about your heart. It doesn't
Right.
use the word circumcised.
Cut away. Oh, right. And not foreskin either, because obviously if it's from a female perspective, yeah, the thickening, yeah.
That's from the Etz Chaim. Cindy, you have Etz Chaim, Torah?
No, she said, I think.
Not in front. No, I have the women's commentary.
Mhm.
Well, it's also in Etz Chaim.
Yeah. I love seeing the different interpretations. I love that. Um, and then, moving forward in 11:8, this is where we get the second part of the Shema. Um, let me see. We go to it. I'm in the Robert altar. I don't know if you can see that. But you shall keep all of the command which I charge you today, so that you may be strong and come and take hold of the land. So we get this chapter or the second paragraph of the Shema, which is such a key passage not only to our liturgy, but to our way of life. And again, we're being reminded to love, right? And you shall love Adonai your God. That's like the infamous start of this. So, Eikev, all about, yes, acknowledging where we've been, remembering it, but moving forward with love, pure, unfiltered. Cindy, what did you say? What word? What did they describe it as?
Thickening.
Unthickened, unthickened, unblocked love in our hearts. So it's a really complex and an interesting chapter, and one I think that really gets uh, not the credit it deserves because it so often gets looked at as, oh, that the circumcise your heart line, or oh, it's just a recap of events. Um, yeah, anyone else have any other comments? If not, yes, please, Merle.
I'm just thinking through all of this when I think about thickening and cutting away the thickening.
Mhm.
I keep thinking that that's a way of getting rid of negativeness
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and what we're going to be doing in the future and getting rid of any negative thoughts about the future and therefore promoting love.
Yeah. And I also think that, this is the perfect time to have that reminder as we are, now in the weeks leading up to high holidays, where we literally are pounding on our hearts in a few weeks from now
Oh,
to remind ourselves that we need to cleanse ourselves, that we need to forgive, that yes, we do look back and we think about the things that we've done wrong, but we actually are cleansing ourselves. And I don't know if anyone has ever heard of this, but something that I learned years ago, and I love this interpretation. We always see, during the Vidui, people pounding their chest. And for me, at least growing up, and I'm sure for many of you, it was a reminder, oh, I've done wrong. I've done this wrong. I've done that wrong. I've done this wrong. Confessions, right? But what instead if we looked at it as a retracting, right? And a forgiveness and letting go. Ashamnu, but then we're taking it out and we're letting it go. We acknowledge that we've done wrong, but then we're letting it go, right? We don't hold it there. We don't keep it there. We let it go. We have to. We have to make room in our hearts. Cindy, yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the commentary in the women's commentary, and it
Hmm.
says literally circumcise the foreskin of your heart. This expression refers to the metaphoric removal of the emotional blocks that prevent the people from following God's teaching and that result in their rebellious behavior.
Exactly. Right. And that's, that's the reminder we get in Eikev. And I think again, as we prepare for the high holidays, it's a great reminder to move forward with too. Remove those emotional blocks. Remind yourself of them, look back, acknowledge, but then remove them and move forward. Rebecca?
I lived in Santa Cruz for 47 years. I've been back here for about 4. And the rabbi in Santa Cruz, instead of doing the pounding, she had us do
Mm-hmm.
a massaging, kind of a circular.
Yeah, yeah. It's the same idea that, we need to tend to our hearts and we need to tend to our souls and these things that we carry with us, that the Israelites carried with them for 40 years, they can cause severe damage. They can cause severe harm if we let them just continually weigh on us. But if we acknowledge it, we tend to it, we let it go, we move forward. It's the only way that we can function in life. Panina?
I don't think it was only emotional. They were given guidelines. They were given the Ten Commandments. There were already now some kind of structure that they should follow. Otherwise, why putting so much emphasis on it? That was supposed to change the whole thing. And when they are they're being reminded, you do have guidelines. So now it's different. Now you have something to lean on, to build on, to put to life, bring it to life, put it
Mm-hmm.
into action. It's not just emotional. They're walking in now armed with a different reality, because after all, they did arrive to the point where God promised them. They were here, they are. They reached it. And that was, I think, the result of, I think, most of it following. Otherwise, they would stay maybe another 40 years in the desert.
Hmm.
So I think the guideline, the Ten Commandments should have, they was expected to make them change and make them, at least they were given guidelines. So it's a different story. It's a
Yeah.
different reality now. So
No, good
they
points.
have a
Yeah.
route to follow. So it
Right.
should have been easier. Could just do what you're told and it will work. The
How
question is,
often?
did they do it? Yeah.
Right. That's easier said than done, I think. Do what you're
Right.
told and
Right.
go forward.
Right.
But yes.
Right.
Susan, I see you have your hand raised too.
Yeah, I'm responding also to Panina on that, and she's absolutely right. And also from what I've been reading with Rabbi Sachs, I'm trying to lower my hand. Here we go. That too much love without justice and
Hmm.
controls and structure can be very destructive. You
Hmm.
need both, and there are also the two aspects of God, uh, judgment and love, and
Hmm.
uh, and I think that's certainly important. And what the emphasis here is on the heart, because we can also know the Ten Commandments and the other rules and not do them, So you have to have the will, the interest, and the love to say, I'm going to follow these commandments. But you need both. So
Right.
it can't
Yes.
all be love.
Yes.
Yeah. That these are good points, absolutely. And that's why I think that this portion, yes, it's not only about love. It's about that mind
That's correct.
soul connection that we cannot not remember, right? We cannot just go off of love and we have to have rules. We have to have the structure. We have to have the reminders from our elders, from our leaders of where we've been. And we can't ignore that, but we also can't be ruled by it, right? We have to also allow our hearts to be the one that is driving us forward in a pure sense. But yeah, I think these are definitely valid, and that's why I think in the portion actually there's more um, utterances of "you shall remember" than "you shall love." So to your points that, it's not just about love. It's not just about the heart. Um, I also just wanted to mention that Eikev means as a consequence of. So, so I think that is also just a reminder of this theme, right? That we we move forward with love in our hearts as a consequence of the things that have happened in the past, right? It's a conscious choice. And it's a choice that the Israelites need to make to move forward. They need to circumcise their hearts because of the things that they've done in the past. They need to accept this responsibility um, to really own who they are going to be in the promised land. Any other thoughts, questions? If not, I found a interesting some interesting commentaries elsewhere that we can look at in our final minutes here, but the floor is still open. Okay. Um, so I just wanted to share with you, there were two sections of different commentaries that I really liked. And I'm not going to share the full article, but just the excerpts of it. This one is one that we have sort of been touching on. So in this parsha, Eikev, Moses speaks to the people, reminds them of all the suffering that they experienced on their journey out of Egypt, and the way that their relationship with the divine was shattered over and over again. We read, "Remember, don't forget how you brought on the Eternal One's anger in the wilderness. From the day you left Egypt until you came to this place, you have been fighting against the Eternal One." Why is Moses reminding them of this history? It seems like on the eve of entering the promised land, it would be tempting to forget. If you don't first grieve over our losses and acknowledge our broken relations, we cannot begin to heal. And I actually think, I mean, again, I don't want to bring up any sour or sad notes, but so many of you shared that you have your sites tonight, right? That you're remembering loved ones on this very Shabbat. And this ties into it. We have to grieve. We have to acknowledge our losses because it's the only way that we can begin to heal. And that's why we do it. That's why we have these yort sites in the first place. Another really interesting interpretation that I read comes from Rabbi Asher Lopatin. And he starts by again explaining Eikev means as a consequence of. From the start to the end of this portion, the message is loud and clear. Everything we do makes a difference, and someone, God, the world, people around us, is watching and is deeply affected by what we do. Eikev focuses on how our actions will enable us to enter the land of Israel and to make it thrive or deteriorate. The Torah tells us the eyes of God are constantly on this land from the beginning of the year to the end. So it is not surprising at all that the world has Israel and the Jews under a microscope. Every action the state of Israel takes to defend herself or to deal with the multiple challenges seems to make it to the front pages of the papers or to the mouths of protesters and activists on college campuses. This makes it difficult for all of us who love Israel and wish to defend her. Yet it means that Israel and the Jews must set an example for the world of how every action, every act of a state or an individual does have an impact. We cannot expect the world to appreciate Israel, but we are constantly reminded of the value of us trying to make a difference. So a different interpretation, a different direction that this rabbi is going in this Torah study. And I don't want to dive too deep into politics, but I do appreciate that, you know, it is all connected. Yes, on the eve of the Jewish people entering the land of Israel, why bring up such trauma? Well, it's because we need to take care of this land. We need to make sure that we're entering in a responsible way. And it's always been like that. And it continues to be like that. And perhaps that is why there is so much attention on Israel, because there's always been, right? We circumcised our hearts to make sure that we were ready to enter the land of Israel, and we will continue to try to care for it with as much heart and pureness as we can.
It,
Panina?
it spills also into the agriculture of what happened in the land. So if they don't take care of the land itself, not the people, they're not going to be able to survive. The first thing that the Israelis did when the British left was dried up the hula. It was a mud pot, a big one. It's close to the Kinneret, to the Sea of Galilee, where Jesus was supposed to walk on it. And it caused typhus. And how do you call it when your lungs are bad? And we lost a lot of poets and people who lived in the kibbutzim around there, like Rachel. We take children to see her grave when they go to Israel. Rachel HaMeshoreret, she was a poet. And she wrote about her love to Kinneret. The Kinneret is the Sea of Galilee. And close to it, there is this mud thing that they had to take care of because it was the cause of diseases. And they did. They cleaned it out. The Kinneret till today, it's a source of fish. They have a cannery next to it. Sardines are being sold all over the world. And there is people who still live there. And it's because it's shaped as a violin. It's called kinneret. The word for violin is kinnor. So it went on for, I'm telling, 5,000 years. There is different understanding of what it is to take care, not just of each other, but you have to take care on the land itself. And not just from enemies, from the nature, from what nature will give you with it. It's not just take. You got to take care of it. You got to give all the time.
Absolutely.
So
It's our
I think
responsibility. Yeah.
that's like it's a lot to learn and to keep up when you are entering something that you never did before. They
Right.
were slaves, they built pyramids. And so it's like it was a lot. If people think that just because they were in the desert for 80 years, that's not, and I mean, it's a lot to all of a sudden get you into those different environment, different direction, different purpose. And this, how would you, it's a commitment not just to each other. You have to have the commitment to the land too. Take care of it. Otherwise, forget it. You can't just fight each other to win territory. You have to take care of this territory first
Yeah.
to hold on to it.
No,
Natural.
absolutely. That's yeah, absolutely. We
It's
have
very important to
Mm.
realize the agriculture and the whatever it is that was there and
Yeah.
how much was done to
Right.
make it what it is. It's
Yeah.
people don't always remember. They want to remember.
Yeah. Merle, we only have a few minutes left. So.
When you were reading these passages, and I was thinking about consequences and positive consequences at camp this summer on leadership night, camp director Jen thanked all the leadership, the 90 of us that were there for leadership night, but she also said to the campers who were on the other side of the gym, how many of you are here because of grandparents, great grandparents, parent, aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever, and what they've done to keep camp going for you.
There we
And
go.
more than half of the kids, and I don't know how many campers there were, but a lot, more than half of the kids stood up and came over and thanked everyone for what they do. And that's the same thing. It's a positive consequence
That's
that
right.
we have to maintain.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Well, we're in our final minute together. Anyone else have any other comments on this chapter of Eikev, or any other questions?
Cantor, I have one question for you, a little bit off the subject of the Torah, but I know the blessing of your child will be coming, you said in a week or so, plus or minus. I saw
Yes,
you last week. It looked like it could be right now.
I know.
But question, will we have the joy of your chanting for the holidays, or will you still be doing
Yeah,
other things?
on my break. Yes, thank you. I will be at home for Rosh Hashanah, because that'll be just a few weeks after. But I am very hopeful that I'll come back for Kol Nidre and Yom Kippur if, God willing, everything goes well and I'm feeling good and healthy and baby's doing well. So that is the hope, but we will see how it goes. And of course, we have Cantor Lisa Peacock on the east side, and we have Cantor Ellen Sugarman and soloist Ian Simpson, who will be holding down the fort as well. So we are in no lack of amazing, clergy, but I would I hope to be with you all, even for a little bit. But I know this is a very, very interesting year for clergy and babies. But we feel very blessed, and what a way to start the new year, right?
We
Yeah.
feel blessed to
A
have some
great way.
clergy.
Thank you. Thank you. This was truly wonderful to get to have this time together, studying Torah with you all. It was really a wonderful way to usher in Shabbat for me. So I thank you. And, if you have any other questions, thoughts, anything that pop up, please always feel free to reach out. Um, and if not, I wish you all a wonderful, peaceful, restful Shabbat.
Shabbat
You
shalom.
too. Shabbat
Shalom.
shalom.
Shabbat
Thank
shalom.
you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
For
You.
being
Thank you
there.
all.
Oh, heal.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Shabbat shalom.